What's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we're doing the what's next on Jesus Christ, I'm drawing a blank. On Richard Riakporhe, the former world title challenger, following his first pro loss and unanimous decision against Chris Billiam-Smith in their rematch, as Riakporhe challenged for the WBO title on June 15th, excuse me, in the main event of a boxer card on Peacock. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So, you know, Riakporhe went into this fight. A lot of people thought he was going to win. I picked him to win the fight. And, you know, he would land big shots, but they were more one at a time. And that's because of the way Billiam-Smith fought him. Billiam-Smith wouldn't let him land more than one shot at a time, as he moved well side to side. And just, it was more not even the movement, it was more the he was staying kind of in that mid-range. He wasn't super close with them. He was staying in that mid-range, and then would rattle off a combination that would throw off the timing of Riakporhe. And he did a good job of boxing. He did. I thought Billiam-Smith did a really good job of keeping Riakporhe at bay and only letting him land one at a time. So following the first pro loss of his career, the big question is what's next for Richard Riakporhe following that loss? And right now, there's really hasn't been any rumors or talks as of yet. I know some people have said he should move to heavyweight. Hey, maybe he should. You know, he definitely packs a big punch. Maybe that's the right move. I think he's like 34 years old. So maybe that's the right move. If it was me personally, I would take another run here at cruiserweight and see what he can get, you know, see what he can do. So let's run through the top 10 right now, especially since he hasn't made it official that he's moving to heavyweight. And let's see what could be a possibility for him moving up the ladder. Now, he's not currently ranked by any of the governing bodies at cruiserweight right now. So I found that very interesting. Maybe he pulled out, stopped paying the fees to be ranked because he doesn't know what he wants to do. So let's take a look now. We start with number one, and all these rankings are updated. These are the mid-year top 10s. So we start with number one, Jai Opetaia, the reigning IBF champion, two-time and undefeated IBF champ. I don't see this one. Riakporhe coming off a loss, and Opetaia coming off of another big win over Maris Bradis on the Usyk Fury undercard. He's the number one cruiserweight in the world right now. I don't know if he'd want to fight a guy coming off of a loss. I think he wants more of a unification bout or a bigger name, and I just don't think Riakporhe fits that bill. And it's not like Riakporhe fought Billiam-Smith really close to where you know, you can argue he got robbed, and Opetaia's like, okay, here's what I can do against him. I don't see Opetaia giving Riakporhe a title shot, especially since Riakporhe bitched out on a mandatory against Opetaia, I think last year or the year before. He flaked on it, so I definitely don't see it. Then you got a rematch with number two, Chris Billiam-Smith. I don't see that one, or a third fight. There would have to be a need for a rubber match, and, you know, Billiam-Smith won convincingly in a rematch. So I don't see him needing this fight with Riakporhe. It wouldn't make a lot of sense, and he wants to move on to bigger and better things, and I don't see him giving Riakporhe a third fight. Then you got WBC champion Noel Gavor or Mikhailian. If Gavor doesn't sign on for a unification bout with Opetaia, he's going to make a mandatory against Ryan Rozicki. And Riakporhe, I don't see him in the mix, so I'm going to say no to that. Then you got former champion Maris Bradis. I think there's an outside chance of this because Bradis is going to want to move up the ladder. And if he makes one last run following the loss to Opetaia, I think if he wants to make one last serious run at the cruiserweight title, he might, you know, he's going to have to maybe win an eliminator first, and he might want to take on a solid top 10 guy. But Riakporhe, I don't know if he's going to be the guy, so I guess it's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen. Then you got WBA champion Gilberto Ramirez. You know, again, another champion that doesn't need to fight Riakporhe coming off of that loss, and Ramirez wants to unify or fight, you know, good name fighters. So I don't see him fighting Richard Riakporhe. Then you got veteran WBC champion in recess, Badu Jack. Badu Jack is only fighting name fighters or for titles, and Riakporhe is not really either one. So he's not a champion and he's not a name fighter. I don't see Jack giving him the time of day. Then there's Arsen Goulamirian, the former WBA champion. You know, he's highly rated in the WBA, and I think he's going to try to win an eliminator to try to move into the top spot. And Riakporhe is not even ranked by anything right now, so I don't see these two coming together. Then there's Yunier Dorticos, the former two-time champ. You know, I wouldn't completely rule it out that Dorticos would be interested in something like this, but I just think he's going to go in a different direction because he has a title shot looming. He's a WBA's #1 contender right now. He doesn't need a Riakporhe fight, so I don't think he would take it. And then finally in the top 10 is Mateusz Masternak, the former world title challenger. You know, he's coming off of a tough loss to Billiam-Smith himself, but he was winning the fight and had to pull out with an injury. Would Masternak fight a guy like Riakporhe? He might, to move back up the ladder. A win over Riakporhe would be big, and that would be big for Riakporhe too, because they're two top 10 guys going at each other. He's an older fighter though. I'm leaning towards the less likely, but I really wouldn't be surprised if these two sides came together. Anybody out of the top 10, it's just kind of up in the air, but most of those guys that I have ranked, like the top guys ranked out of the top 10, are because they're highly ranked by the governing bodies, and they're either going to fight each other or they're going to get a title shot. They really don't need Richard Riakporhe. So Richard Riakporhe, to be honest, he might have to start over and just take on whoever if he's going to bang it out at cruiserweight. Or the right option might be for him to move to heavyweight, and test the waters there, or even bridgerweight and see what he can get done. So I'm interested in seeing what Riakporhe does. I'm hoping he returns before the end of the year, and we'll just have to see and go from there. But that's it. That's what I got. That's my what's next on former world title challenger Richard Riakporhe, following that tough decision loss in the first of his career to Chris Billiam-Smith as he challenged for the WBO title. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.